Be not discouraged by difficulties, but persevere and you shall succeed. This is the moral of the enclosed story from the Kurma Purana, which is one of the 18 Mahapuranas. This story has been translated for us by Swami Vivekananda in his book Raja Yoga. So let us listen in. There was a great god sage called Narada. Just as there are sages and great yogis among mankind, so there are great yogis amongst the gods. Narada was such a great yogi amongst the gods. He travelled everywhere. One day he was passing through a forest when he saw a man who had been meditating seated in one position for such a long time that white ants had built a huge mound round his body. The moment this man saw Narada, he asked him, "Where are you going?" Narada replied, "I am going to heaven." "Then will you ask God when he shall be merciful to me? When shall I attain freedom from the cycles of birth and death?" Narada agreed to the man's request and walked on further. In a short while, he came across a second man. This man was jumping about, singing and dancing. When he saw Narada, he said, "O Narada, where are you going?" The man's voice and gestures were wild. Narada replied, "I am going to heaven." "Then will you ask God, when shall I be free?" Narada agreed and went on his way to heaven. In the course of time, Narada once again passed by the same forest road, and there was the first man who had been meditating with the anthill round him. The man asked, "O Narada, did you ask the Lord about me?" "Oh yes," replied Narada. "What did he say?" "The Lord told me that you would attain to freedom in 4 more births." Hearing this, the man began to weep and wail and said, "I have meditated until an anthill has grown around me, and I still have 4 more births to go." Narada left him weeping and travelled forward to meet the second man. The second man was delighted to see Narada and said, "Did you ask my question?" "Oh yes," replied Narada. "Do you see this tamarind tree? God asked me to tell you that as many leaves as there are on that tree, so many times you shall be born, and then you shall attain freedom." The man began to dance for joy and said, "I shall have freedom after such a short time." As soon as the man uttered these words, the voice of God was suddenly heard. "My child, you will have freedom from the cycles of birth and death this very minute." That was God's reward for his perseverance. The man was ready to work through all those births without being the least bit discouraged. But the first man felt disheartened that even 4 more births were too long and difficult to go through. And so the moral of this story is that only the lion-hearted perseverance as that possessed by the second man, who was willing to patiently wait eons and who was willing to struggle through the greatest odds to be liberated, only such an indomitable perseverance brings about the highest results. This truth is valid not only in the spiritual domain but also in the material. Whatever we wish to achieve we can, provided we arise awake and stop not till the goal is reached. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.